Creating films and images with artificial intelligence professionally has many techniques, but let's simplify it together in the simplest possible way. When you're going to create a professional image with artificial intelligence, besides trying to keep your character consistent, more important than that is framing and your camera angle. Or if you are making a video, your camera movement is so important too. In this tutorial video, I want to teach you in the simplest way possible how you can get the best photo and video output from AI and write the correct prompt so that you can work very professionally and have the right images and not lose your credits. And in fact, the outputs you will get is not irrelevant.
Now, when you want to create a high-quality image, the specific prompts you choose to use become extremely important. The first prompt we want to explore is for situations where we want to show a very large, expansive space. And in these particular cases, we use the establishing shot prompt for our scene to capture everything. As you can clearly see here for yourself, with the detailed outputs we are able to get from our generated images, we can easily show an overall location. Now please let me show you a specific image I created myself using Nano Pro. I created this particular image right here. As you can clearly see for yourselves, what exactly did I write at the beginning of my prompt? I wrote, create a scene for me in the cinematic establishing shot style, and so the image it created for me turned out like this. My main character is perfectly placed in the very center of the image, and both sides are completely open, as you can clearly see. Here it's entirely open and the character is carefully positioned at the exact center of my image. This way, we can easily and effectively show the entire area or specific place we have in mind for this scene. As you can see in this image as well, with the establishing shot, we've achieved a really good result. Now we zoom in a little bit more, as if the entire image is moving forward, and we move on to the next stage of the process. We transition to the wide or full shot, and the wide or full shot does the exact same thing for us. It shows us the overall space of the scene, but also clearly presents our character from the top of their head down to their toes. In this way, we can also introduce our character through the shot. Let's take a look together at an image I created in this style. You see, I introduced the environment here, but my character is also completely visible from head to toe. We have the top of the head, the bottom, the feet, and the surrounding space is also clear here. And I can fully and completely understand exactly which place we're talking about, both in the image and in my prompt. The very first thing that I wrote down is exactly this. I said, please give me a full body-wide shot. This is also the specific prompt I wrote to generate the image for me. So, if you really want the final image to show a bit of the surrounding environment but still have your character's full height clearly visible, then you should be sure to use the wide full shot mode for the best results. Alright, let's move on to the next mode. If you pay attention, we're gradually increasing the zoom. Now we go to the medium shot mode. The music is in a medium, cheerful state. The specific time you might want to use a medium shot is when the frame clearly shows the subject from just above the head down to about the top of the waist. This framing is usually chosen for times when we want to focus intently on the character, especially when they are about to say something important. In these instances, the background image might not be quite as important to the story. For example, it is just like you see in this particular shot right here. The character is fully and prominently placed here, and while I still have some of the background visible, most of the viewer's focus is directed right here. Here, the primary focus is centered on my character, and in the specific prompt that I used for this, I also mentioned medium shot. The rest of the prompt we used should be kept in mind for how you use it. Let's now move on to the very next mode and the next item on the list. The medium close-up shot is called a medium close-up. Medium close-up, it zooms in a bit more and our focus on the character increases. So, the more you want your character to be the center of attention, the more you need to zoom in on them. But with the right prompt, you can see that's exactly what happened here. The complete visual composition I see here is exclusively focused on my character, and the surroundings are intentionally and heavily blurred, which is exactly what I explicitly detailed in the prompt I used. Here, I wrote exactly that. Notion medium close-up in every way. Alright, now let's move on to the next mode. We're zooming in even more, entering the extreme close-up mode. This is when we want to focus on a specific part of the face. It could be the detailed eye, the tongue, the lips, or even a small watch on the wrist. In this way, we are providing a very, very close zoom on a specific part of the human body. And in this way, all of the viewer's focus is right there. You see, it is exactly the same here, and the same thing happened in the specific prompt I used. This is what we call an extreme close-up. Following this same methodology, you can create your own unique images and ensure your final creative outputs appear very professional and natural. Now that we have understood the frame itself and the scene itself, it is time to discuss the importance of camera angles. Because angles can fundamentally alter the underlying meaning, concept, and mood of our work. The first angle we want to talk about is the low angle shot. This means that the camera is positioned below, looking up at the subject, like the example you see here. In this situation, when you use a low angle, your subject appears very large and powerful, and it can convey a sense of power to us, as you can see. The same thing has happened here. The angle is really low and it gives off that sense of power. It conveys that to us. You see, it's that simple. Now, what could the next scene be like? It could be a high angle. The camera is positioned above, looking down. When we capture a cinematic scene like this, the subject appears significantly smaller. Just like what you're seeing here. In this way, our character appears to be very weak, and even weaker within the frame. Now let's bring up this example that I made myself. You see the feeling of being alone, the feeling of being small, the sense of weakness, all of these are conveyed when you shoot from above. It can definitely create that effect. Of course, keep this point in mind. You can combine the frame with the angle, meaning you can have, for example, a close-up angle, or you can have a close-up frame. But your angle can also be from above, such as a high angle. You can combine all of these elements together. Let's move on to the next angle we can use, which is usually what we go for in these situations. We go for an aerial shot or a drone shot. This is for times when we want to have a very wide view and want to introduce a location. Here's an example. Let's say I want to specifically introduce Manome Beach. First, I need to show that scene, exactly what happened here. You see, I mentioned the aerial drone shot. The rest of the footage is everything else that's essential. This way, you can effectively introduce your location and describe it completely. This specific technique we're going to talk about is known as the Dutch angle. Creating this style of images is a bit difficult for artificial intelligence. Why? As you can see for yourself, our character in this image is tilted, and our image itself is slanted, as you can see. While this part is straight, our image is noticeably angled. That's exactly what the Dutch angle does. It aims to convey a sense of psychological stress and unease. So, when does this happen? In artificial intelligence, it's a bit difficult. You can see that in all of these, I asked for a Dutch angle. But it couldn't create it, and you definitely need to repeat it several times. However, here it managed to do it. I specifically asked the system for a Dutch angle, and my character also has that tilted and slanted posture. Now it's time to move on to the next detailed section, where we'll learn exactly how each point of view can look in detail. The first camera angle that's widely used in creating scenes where two people are specifically supposed to be talking to each other is the over-the-shoulder shot, as if two people are talking to each other and having a conversation, very simply. For every shot you create, it's enough to just start with the over-the-shoulder. The point of view shot is when the scene is intentionally designed to be presented directly from the viewer's own perspective. Sometimes creating it with AI can be a bit difficult, so keep that in mind. Usually the angles it generates are wrong. You see, first of all, here it was supposed to create a point of view shot, but it couldn't. It brought in the character instead. It ended up being an over-the-shoulder shot, but whose angle is this, really? Normally we don't hold our hand like this, you have to repeat it a few times. For example, this image isn't bad. It is a bit better, but in my personal opinion, among these various images, this specific one is much better. Because logically, our eyes are positioned right here, and from this spot, this is actually the natural angle we have. We can see that we can view the cup in this way. so pay attention to this part as well. The next viewing angle can be an insert shot. Insert shots are used when you want to focus on details, for example, when a hand is supposed to be on a mobile phone, or when we want to introduce our watch or anything else we want to show in the image. In this way, you can use these insert shots. Look, I created all these images exactly like this, and there's really nothing complicated about it. That's all there is to it. You just need to use these same techniques. Or, for example, we have some special types of images like macro shots, which are considered a special category of images. All you need to do is specify that, like in this image. You see, we wanted a macro detail, and in the end, it gave us the image we wanted. If you want to go for a highly artistic and creative approach and make truly imaginative images, you can have an image captured from deep inside a mirror, or an image of a character glimpsed through the frame of an open door. These kinds of scenes are called creative scenes. But keep in mind that, like in this image, it might mess things up sometimes. It might try to create it enthusiastically, but since it's not used to making images like this, there could be mistakes in it. You just need to repeat it a few times until you get the result you want. Alright, now that we have explored and understood both framing and camera angles, it is finally time for us to learn the different ways to move our camera. Alright, the first camera movement we're going to talk about is the static shot, where our camera is completely still, just like the scene you're watching right now. In this situation, the scene is completely still, my camera is stationary, and all the focus is placed directly on the conversation between these two characters. So whenever you want to focus heavily on dialogue, you can always go for a static shot. Alright, now let's move on to the next scene together. The next camera movement we will discuss is called a tilt, which can be performed as either a tilt up or a tilt down. This specific technique occurs when the camera body stays completely fixed in its place, but our lens moves vertically and only the neck of the camera tilts up or down. In this particular situation, we often want to introduce a new subject to the viewer, or perhaps we need to move the focus to a certain specific part of the scene with our camera, and when we want to show a sense of grandeur. For example, in this specific scene, we're going to use a slow tilt up to show the inner strength of this person, and also to emphasize the massive height of this impressive tower. In this case, we can effectively use a tilt up. But be very careful. This is an image that has created an impact for me. In a way, a pan is also combined here because the camera itself is moving. Here, the camera is moving as well, so it might be considered a pan. Keep this in mind. Let's move on to the next type of camera movement. That is the specific pan movement I mentioned before. In a traditional pan, your camera stays fixed in one place but rotates horizontally. A pan movement is ideal when you want to follow a moving subject and also show the surrounding environment. In this way, you can effectively use the pan mode to create a sense of space. In a pan, the camera is essentially following the subject across the frame. Like here, see, you can really feel the character being followed in this scene, thanks to the smooth pan we use to capture every detail of the background while keeping the focus on their journey. We previously established that it should be in pan mode and be able to keep following the character. So, what is the subsequent camera mode? The next mode is the track mode. Track is used when you want to follow your character as they move, like in this example. Let's take a closer look at this mode. The camera is moving along with it completely. Now, it could be a track right or a track left. It doesn't matter. In both of these specific scenarios, we are following our character until they reach their ultimate destination point. What could the next mode possibly be? It could be a more dynamic handheld mode, meaning the camera is held directly in the physical hands of the camera operator. The music plays when the camera is in the cameraman's hands. Naturally, when they're filming, the camera shakes. Like right now, you can really feel the sense of running here. It's as if the cameraman is actively running alongside the action too and recording the footage. This way, you can create the most professional shots with it. Let's move on to two types of camera movements that can be really impressive with artificial intelligence. The first one is rack focus. In rack focus mode, we have two different zooms. You see, first here I have a zooming and focusing effect on this chess game and the chess piece. But when the camera starts to move across the scene, my visual focus gradually shifts from this chess player to the individual standing quietly in the background. In this way, we can effectively convey a clear and compelling sense of energy transfer using the cinematic rack focus technique to guide the viewer. Alright, another type that can be really interesting for us, there's the arc shot model. What exactly does the arc shot do? It continuously and completely circles around our character, just like what you're seeing here. It's especially useful for epic films and intense action movies. The camera can rotate around your character and deliver a truly amazing, outstanding, and professional result. So, what other types can we have? Let's take a look at this. If we turn the page, we can have a zoom or a dolly shot. There are different types, and sometimes people confuse them with each other. In the optical zoom mode, as demonstrated in the visual image you're seeing, only the internal lens elements move to zoom in or out. But when the camera itself moves, the situation changes. It creates a dolly effect, and it's no longer a zoom, meaning the camera itself is moving. It can really give us a strong sense of movement. It does this exceptionally and remarkably well. And finally, the last type we can have, which is also highly fascinating and unique, is the dolly zoom. In the dolly zoom mode, what happens is that we have both the camera movement and the zoom happening simultaneously at the exact same time. In fact, the camera is moving in this direction, and at the same time the zoom is also happening. Very subtly and slightly, our image gets completely stretched like this, and it can create a sense of fear and stress for us. In horror movies, this style is used a lot.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive my simple tutorials. Learn complex topics easily with me.